Guys, I cannot believe we are about to talk about Franklin Richards. Just for some context, for those of you who don't know, Franklin Richards could very well be considered a top 10 overall power character in Marvel. At worst, top 20. Like, this guy has gone toe to toe with Celestials. This guy has made Galactus his herald. This guy, when he was a kid, made a new dimension underneath his bed sheets, okay? You were sneaking comic books while your parents thought you were sleeping. He was creating new life, all right? This guy's resume is insane, and so his kit has to match. And luckily for us, in this video, we're going to be deep diving into his kit and showing gameplay for this guy. Let's go ahead and jump into it right away, going through his details. Hero Cosmic Bio Controller Fantastic Four MCU. The reason I emphasize Bio is because in the comics, he has been known to be a mutant, but he's also been known to not be a mutant. He's also gotten his powers from the Cosmic Control Rod. Reed had to go steal it so that Franklin would stop sort of sucking all the life essence off of his mom while he was being birthed. He was a mutant once. He's been known to draw energies off the multiverse, really kind of explaining where all of his power comes from. But at the end of the day, the tag doesn't really matter much, right? That's just the gear we need to equip this guy so he can kick butt. Couple red flags. No legendary or epic tag, but is that really a red flag? Black Knight doesn't have any of those. Kang doesn't have any of those. Think about the impact those characters had on Marvel Strike Force. I think when you see this kit, you're going to agree with me. We're happy he's not a legendary or an epic character, because that means we're going to get to farm him in that Intel store much faster. We'll be get red stars and diamonds on him much faster. And when you see his kit, that's a really good thing. And here's an insanely green flag. Speed of 131 base. Right now in Marvel Strike Force, we have so many ways to control speed stat gain and loss, speed bar gain and loss, and speed up slow debuffs. When you come pre-packaged with a speed stat of 131, making you one of the fastest characters in the game, that's special. That right away yells, look at me as a plug-and-play character, check out what my kit does, and we will check out what the kit does. He's also going to have that unique molecular cloth. Shout out to his mom, the original Invisible Woman in Marvel Strike Force. All right, let's talk about his basic. Powerhouse Pitch. He's going to flip 3 negative effects into positive effects on self, attacking primary and adjacents and flipping 3 positive effects on them. His ISO attack will do the same thing, but only to a primary target. Let's go ahead and check out his basic animation and his secret kill animation. Yeah, I gotta say, I really like the vibes of this character. Obviously, he wasn't gonna be Kid Franklin, and if he was adult Franklin, he'd just simply be way too powerful. So I like how they're doing this sort of coming of age Franklin, where he's kind of like playing games with his enemies. He's throwing a powerhouse pitch. His next ability, the Starforged Striker, is going to be fun too. Can't wait to show you guys that animation. But let's talk about this ability. You can use this turn 1. It is energy cost 6 out of 6. Attack primary and adjacent targets for 340% damage. And if this character has 2 or more Fantastic Four MCU allies, reduce the duration of just Safeguard. That's interesting, right? Copy all positive effects, excluding Taunt, Stealth, and Regeneration, from primary and adjacent targets to self. Spread all positive effects, excluding Taunt, Stealth, and Regeneration, from self to all allies. Flip all positive effects into negative effects for primary and adjacent targets. So that is why it is only decaying the Safeguard. Because it decays the Safeguard, we're able to steal all those positive effects, and then we're also able to flip all those positive effects. So it's actually a really good order of operations that the reduction happens before anything else. So really, really powerful turn 1 ability. Let's go ahead and check out that animation. Like I said, he's kind of got that coming of age vibe. He's just kicking these energy balls at people, the fast pitches at people. Like, I think it's a really cool design choice in my opinion. Let's talk about his ultimate. Also available turn 1, Starfall. Energy cost 8 out of 8, so he's going to clear all battlefield effects and apply the battlefield effect Future Foundation to the enemy aside. In Arena, This battlefield effect cannot be cleared or replaced by another battlefield effect and lasts until 8 characters, allies, and enemies have completed their turn. So kind of a smaller version of the Quasar Awakened ability, but in Arena it's going to be insanely impactful. This is going to stop, I believe, like Marco Mephisto. I'm sure it's going to stop another one that I'm forgetting, but it's going to be a really powerful ability. If this character has 2 or more Fantastic Four MCU allies, reduce the duration of all positive effects by 2 on all enemies. So he's got a reduction on a turn 1 ability as well with a speed of 131. That's insane. He'll attack all enemies for 350% damage and apply Silence, the new negative effect that was spoken about in the Strike Spot. We'll dive into that in a second. If this character has 2 or more Fantastic Four MCU allies, apply Silence for 2 turns instead. This attack cannot be dodged and gains 200% extra focus. We love that. So he's like, Apocalypse, sapping me 200%? Nah, get out of here. Let's talk about Silence. It's a new negative effect. So it can be stopped by something like an immunity, or it can be cleared, stuff like that. It can be decayed off, all that sort of stuff, right? Characters who have this negative effect can't apply positive or negative effects to allies or enemies. So if Mephisto has Silence and he does his empowered attack, none of those buffs or debuffs go out. Really impactful, obviously. Characters who have this negative effect also can't reduce the duration of positive effects. I think it's supposed to say can't reduce the duration of positive effects on your allies, sort of thing. So if an enemy has Silence, like Endgame Thanos, and you push that Endgame Thanos to 50%, he does his Rain of Fire on your team, none of your positive effects are going to leave you, which is very powerful. So really dig in Silence. And then let's talk about the battlefield effect. A lot of it is hidden in Arena, but there's a big part of it that's not. So Future Foundation in Arena on turn apply Silence to that character. So just Silence forever. Or at least for those 8 turns until that battlefield effect could potentially be cleared. In Arena, enemy cannot fill or reduce speed bar for themselves, allies, or enemies. This does not apply to speed bar gained through normal means. This is really powerful in Arena because right now Professor X is sort of the anti-speed bar character. But speed bar kicks in after he does his first turn. Franklin comes in with the Future Foundation and says, nope, stop, let's talk about it. And finally, the part outside of Arena, enemies cannot assist. So in Crucible, in War, this is going to stop Odin in his tracks. So the battlefield effect is not wasted outside of Arena, which I'm a big fan of. Let's go ahead and check out that ultimate animation. So cool. All of his animations, I think, are really well done, befitting of the character of his stature. Now, we've seen his basic, his special, his ultimate. They get powered up when he has Fantastic Four MCU characters with him, but he still looks really good standalone. His passive is where he really brings that family cohesion together, and they become kind of scary. Passive, Fantastic Sun. Lower resistance by 50% for all enemies. When a Fantastic Four MCU ally uses their special or ultimate, fill speed bar by 4% for self and all allies, not just Fantastic Four. This is going to change the entire meta. So 2 Fantastic Four MCU members with like an Odin or a Professor X giving them speed bar is gonna be crazy. It's really gonna change a lot of matches, flip a lot of them on their head. Super excited to see how that plays out in PvP. Lots of theory crafting with this character. If this character has 2 or more Fantastic Four MCU allies, enemies cannot have their speed increased except by positive effects. Notice there's no qualifier here. There's no except mythical characters. So yes, this does stop Mephisto. Yes, this does stop Starjammers and Crucible. Yes, this does stop Medusa in War. This has so many applications. Until this character completes a turn, gain 5% speed, and Fantastic Four MCU allies gain 5% speed. So already 131 plus 5%, that's nice. Here it goes crazy. If this character has 2 or more Fantastic Four MCU allies, gain an additional 45% speed for self and all Fantastic Four allies. This is insane, okay? So we're talking about an increase of 50% speed stat, which is essentially speed up on spawn without the speed up buff, which can be countered. What? That's so awesome, okay? And just so we understand how speed stat games work, because this is not obvious in its practice, Franklin will give that 50% speed stat gain to Fantastic Four MCU allies on spawn. but Franklin himself will not realize that 50% speed stat gain until either an enemy or an ally has taken one turn. There needs to be one interaction in the fight before Franklin himself gets that 50% speed stat increase, which is important now that it's until Franklin completes a turn. So he will realize the benefit of that speed stat. This does mean Invisible Woman would go before Franklin, though, which lets us play around with ISOs. We're going to talk about ISOs in just a little bit. But let's finish off the passive. In Arena, if this character has 2 or more Fantastic Four MCU allies, all other allies gain 50% speed stat. So obviously, there's so much speed stat, both anti and positive, going on with this team. Emma X just skyrocketed in value. Starjammers just skyrocketed in value because they also stop speed stat. Accursed just skyrocketed in value. Like, there's a lot of different teams that are now playing with that speed stat. I called it a couple months ago. Speed stat is the new speed meta determinant, okay? And we're going to see what comes next, because this one is kind of near in that sort of saturation point. So we'll see how that goes. But I'm really excited about these characters. Yeah, they're going to flip War, Crucible, and obviously Arena on their head. So super excited about that. Let's talk now about his ISO 8 to start. Franklin does make a really good striker, because as a striker, he's obviously flipping negatives and flipping positives on the enemy. And when he's paired with Fantastic Four MCU allies, he'll be going second. So he could actually hit into a vulnerable very early. Now, if you're using him as a plug and play, I actually also really like Raider. Obviously, all his abilities are AoE. His basic hits primary adjacents, his special hits primary adjacents, and his ultimate hits everybody. So you're not going to go wrong either way. It's going to depend on what matchup you're in. Personally, I'm going to do both, but I think normally he's going to be a striker paired with Invisible Woman and the new Reed Richards, if not also Thing or Human Torch, depending on the game mode. Speaking of the game modes, let's go jump into some War and Arena gameplay footage. All right, so let's test out Franklin Richards with Johnny Storm and the Thing. He needs a couple members to really activate his kit. That speed stat is bonkers, right? We're going to throw in Apocalypse and Quasar with them, and this is a mega team, but we're facing off against a mega team. We're facing off against the absolute best duo with Ares, Odin, and Super Skrull. My big concern, as it always is when you face this team, is can you get off of the Miss Marvel Classic to get through the Odin before his battlefield effect wrecks you. So we're going to start with Thing Special here because we got him as a Raider. We want as many crits as possible. We got a good amount there. And now we're going to use our Franklin Ultimate to strip charges and apply silence to everybody. Good stuff. We got through the charges. Wait a minute. Why is she almost dead? Why is she dead? What? Franklin's damage is crazy. What just happened there? Okay. All right, let's go ahead and use special. Quasar damage is also crazy. Look at the assist that came from Franklin there. Absolute bonkers damage. This is crazy. Oh my gosh. I got to finish off the Odin just because I don't want to give the idea that he could heal up. Okay. Oh, we're going to see how he takes a hit. Oh, he took that hit like a champ. Took that hit like a champ. So he got hit by the Gohori passive and the Skrull special, and he's still looking great. And now he's going to get healed up. Like, okay, here we go. All right, we got to see what these guys can do when they're not being babysat by Quasar. Let's go see. Oh, here we go. Thing with the speed up. I love Thing's rework. They're going to be so good in War. All right, but let's see how these guys can do without Quasar holding their hands. All right, let's see if this team can stand on its own without Quasar. I've replaced Apocalypse with Ares because I do want to get off the pre-tomp from Gladiator. And then I got Invisible Woman because I'm a mama's boy. And I want mama to play with her boy. So here we go. I did feel Ares was necessary, even though Franklin would have decayed the taunt off, because I don't want my Thing to be hitting into the Gladiator. I actually want my Thing to be hitting over here into the null. Reason being, Franklin shuts down Mephisto in a really, really fun way, actually. The silence that he's going to put on the Mephisto will make Mephisto's opening turn do nothing. No debuffs, no buffs, no exhaust, no damage, no nothing, which is really cool, right? Yeah, it's just a waste of turn. I guess I could finish off Null here. I'm going to be a little bit braver. Let's go ahead and we'll special the Gore. So some great damage. Then I'm actually going to target Null. I'll do the ultimate. This will attack the Gore, but the assist will hit the Null. And does the Null bleed out? Oh my god, the damage here is phenomenal. And now we have offense up from using the Johnny Storm special. I guess I should be careful and not hit the Thanos. But Thanos is going to do his special here. I want to kind of keep my buffs. Let's go ahead and use the special. All right, who's Thanos Endgame going to put those debuffs on? There you go. So you see Thanos Endgame, he can still give you your debuffs because he didn't have trauma, I guess. So the special technically tries to cleanse it and does it, but he still held on to it. All right, here we go. Let's go ahead and we'll... I mean, if this could kill the Gore, we'll get speed up. Oh my gosh, there it is. Things very impressive. I'll just basic here. I'll save that special in case we run into them having safeguard. Oh, there go all my buffs before Johnny can use his ultimate. That's okay. We'll ult here. Fantastic. Let's use the special. You can see that cleansed the silence off of Invisible Woman up there. All right, we can do an ability block here now. Good stuff. And now we don't have to worry about safeguard at all. There you go. Thing retaliates. Good stuff. All right, just keep going for the Thanos. Keep going for him. Slowly knocking him down. We can steal that minor defense up. That's kind of funny. We're just basic. Wow, look at these Human Torch blades are actually looking like they're pretty healthy here. All right, let's remove those. He now has a minor defense down. Dude, Franklin is awesome. Just top tier awesome. I also like how old school Invisible Woman is still calling in assists from Human Torch, who's just doing massive bleed damage. And there you go. All right, phenomenal. Let's go talk about this. All right, that will unfortunately do it as far as our gameplay goes. I'm not going to take him into Arena like I said I would, primarily because he really wants to be with Sue and Reed. And I don't want to show this character in an off light. The team is an Arena team. Those three characters are insane. And if you want to see Sue Storm and Reed Richards in action, you're gonna have to go check out Diamond Days video and Valley Flying's video. Shout out to those guys. Links will be in the comment section below. But I can't wait to share with you the arena footage because it's popping. It's popping. But let's go ahead and let's end this video off by talking about T4s. So as far as T4s go, he is going to be a very expensive T4 character, as he should be. His basic is essential, especially if he's going to be a striker, flipping negatives into positives and positives into negatives on the enemies. His special is also essential. This is where he's actually going to decay the enemy safeguard off, as well as gain a bunch of damage. His ultimate, also essential. This is how he's going to clear charge on enemies and do damage. And then there's his passive. Again, also essential because this is where he gains that speed stat. So he's going to be a 4 out of 4 abilities that you want to put your T4s onto, but he's worth it. This guy, he might be more impactful than Black Knight and then Kangwer on the game. The three new characters. You saw how good Thing and Human Torch were. Imagine two better characters that are almost online with Franklin Richards. And that's going to be the Fantastic Four team. I'm super excited about it. Let me know how you guys feel about the Fantastic Four team and if you're preparing to get them unlocked early and build them up fast, as I strongly suggest you do. All right, guys, for now, stay happy, stay healthy, have yourselves a wonderful day, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye-bye.